As you can tell from the thumbnail and the title of this video, there are a lot of new and exciting things going on in my life, a lot of progress being made. But before I dive into that just a little bit more, I'd like to give you the backstory and sort of the reasoning behind and the inspiration for why I started this business, which is Progress Merchandise. And it really is just a business experiment, but it is something that's really exciting. And since I came up with the idea just a couple months ago and started doing it, there has been a lot of progress. And so I'm proud of that, and I'm excited about that, and most of all, I'm grateful for that, for all of you guys who have supported me so much in making that happen. My financial dream, like I've always shared with you guys, is that I can make enough money to take care of my family by doing what I love, doing what I would do anyway, even if I didn't get paid. And up until this point, the Prog Pod, the podcast all about progress, and most of the content that I've been creating on my own social media channels has been without any money, without any compensation. And that's not a problem for me. It's fulfilling all on its own for me, but the money is starting to become more necessary, especially as I work towards that financial dream. The second reason that I started this company and I'm starting to experiment more with business and with making money is because I'm starting to recognize that even though I've been blessed with a lot of nice equipment, mostly as gifts from my family members, I do still need to upgrade and level up. And the kind of equipment that I need now to bring my content to that next level is gonna be more and more money from here on out. So essentially, if you guys didn't know, the Prog Pod podcast is run out of like a guest bedroom in my upstairs. And it used to be in my bedroom. It wasn't even like set up as a studio or anything. So from the very start, this thing has been janky. Whatever dream you have, if you want to, whether you want to start a podcast or start a business or start speaking or putting yourself out there, sharing a message of getting better, a message of progression, the number one advice that I can give you is just to start and to keep going. Because as you keep going, progress is inevitable. Of course, it's going to get better throughout time. But if you stay paralyzed by fear, if you stay where you're at and you're too afraid to even start, that's when you really limit yourself, and that's the only thing that you really need to be afraid of. But right now, we're still just operating out of a guest bedroom. We're still operating on very low money, and so that's a reason that this business has been helpful. All of the money raised from Progress Merchandise is staying within the company. So it doesn't go straight into my bank account or my wallet. It stays for progress purposes. And that could be for the podcast. That could be for equipment that I use to create Instagram content. Whatever way that I use it, it's to share the message of progress, and it's not for my own personal things. I'm treating this company essentially as if I'm the one investor, the only investor in the company. So I'll put the money in, and then I'll pay myself back in full without paying myself any extra or any profit above that. All the profit is progress profit. It stays within the company. And I'm starting to shift the toxic mindset that I had before, that money is always evil. What I am actually starting to learn and what I believe about money is that it's not the most important thing. When it becomes the most important thing in your life, then it corrupts and then it can become something that's evil. But progress is a huge resource and tool. I mean, money is a huge resource and tool to share the message of progress. And when you're focused on progress instead of money, that's when really cool things can happen. Before we get too far along, I thought I'd just show you some of the products. You can see that I'm not wearing one right now because the Progress, I only own one Progress shirt and it's in the laundry right now. I sold my hoodie that it used to be mine and I'm not making enough money right now that I can just have my own stuff. So I do have a few undelivered items that I can show you. There's just the hoodie in white, and maybe I should preface, if you buy any of this stuff, it's not for the shirt. I did put a little bit of thought and a little bit of work into designs and iterations to make sure that the clothes fit nice, that they represented the message of progress adequately, that they were comfortable, but it's just a shirt. It's just a hoodie. The real thing that's important here, and the reason that you buy it, if you do buy it, is because of the message of progress. And then the shirts, they have a different font of progress here. This is the same font that my flag has in the studio, the Progress flag. They're actually made by the same company. The same company I'm working with that made the flag is also the one that I go through to make these shirts. And as far as design goes, I designed the first hoodie and the first shirt, but as things progress with the company and as It stays mostly small, mostly local, which is actually how I want, because shipping costs I pay on my own. So it's nice when I can just bring you your shirt, bring you your order, whatever it be. If you're seeing this and you don't live in the same place as me, don't let that be a hindrance. I feel great about paying shipping. I feel fine about it because at the end of the day, it's sharing the message of progress. That's the most important thing to me. Absolutely. Yeah, there we go. So now that you have just a little bit of a brief introduction to what the purpose is behind the Progress Merchandise Company, let me tell you a little bit more about the back end and the business of how I started a company on my own at the beginning of this year, 2022, and how over the course of 4 months I've actually been able to surpass my goal of $1,000 revenue. And let me just start right out the gate by letting you guys know that one of the first brutal lessons of business that I learned is that revenue does not equal progress. Revenue does not equal progress. I mean, does not equal profit, excuse me. The profits that I've actually been able to make, or that rather that the Progress Company has actually been able to make, are fairly minimal. I'm deciding, I'm on the fence about whether to reveal those or not yet. But the revenue overall, that means all the money brought in by the company, has surpassed $1,000. And then once you take that revenue and you subtract all the operating costs, that means all the cost of designing and then all the cost of purchasing each one of the items, then we get to the profit, which is actually what stays within the company. But another subtraction between revenue and profit for the Progress Merchandise Company is charity. Several items have been donated, and so that's money that just comes out of the company that goes into charity. And I think that's just a healthy practice because that is what the company stands for. And so if it's able to survive while it's being charitable and while it's actually being something that can benefit people aside from just those people who have enough money to buy it, that's good. I feel good about that. I can rest well at night. Another business lesson from running the Progress Merchandise Company that was kind of difficult for me to swallow, and one of the harder parts of running a business, but it's so essential to running a business, is that you have to be careful about the way that you're doing business, especially when it's with friends. I operated a lot in the beginning on trust. You know, I'd say, oh, you don't have the money right now, here's the hoodie anyway, like you take it, you go. Or you know, there could be situations where people want to pay me beforehand before the shirt is even ready, because it takes about 2 weeks from the supplier to the customer, and that didn't go well. And moral of the story, that didn't go well. Even when people's intentions are pure, that when you don't exchange the product and the money at the same time, things can get confusing, things can get complicated. And so now the rule is that the product exchanges at the same time as the money. I won't take your money until I give you your product, and vice versa. I'm not gonna give the product to you until you give me the money, because being in debt is like hell. It's being in prison. It's the worst thing that you could do. So we try to make sure that you stay out of debt and that I stay out of debt as well, because there is a lot of, because I'm the one that provides the capital for this money, and because it's based off pre-order, I know that I'll get all my money back. You know, fingers crossed as everything goes well. And as I continue to make progress in the company, but there is still that period of waiting time between when I put the money in to purchase the items and when I get paid. It's an investment, basically. Essentially, it's an investment. So I give the money away with a guarantee, or at least, you know, a hope of a guarantee that it will come back to me, and even that it'll come back to me more. It'll grow when it gets back. But there is that period of time in between where I don't have either the money that I put in or the money that I'm about to get back. And so that is kind of a nerve-wracking aspect of running the business. But to be honest, let me be honest with you, I kind of like it. It's kind of exciting to me, you know, that I can risk things and put myself out there and understand that money is more valuable once you use it, once you buy something with it that actually can increase the value of the initial investment. That's when progress really happens. I always think of it in the context of a lesson. This is not going to be enough to support me by any means. This is not going to be my life business plan. What this is right now is just a lesson, an opportunity to learn on a small scale, on a safe scale, relatively, how to operate a business. And that's some skills that I definitely need to learn. That's some skills that that people, you know, they'll pay thousands of dollars a year to go to college to learn about. But really, in my mind right now, I'm thinking, why don't I just learn on the job while sharing the message of progress, while letting other people be a part of it and support it right now. And so I'm willing to pay pretty much any amount of money to learn those business lessons and those important lessons of you know, pleasing the customer and delivering the message of progress to the world. And so that's what this is all about for me, is learning those lessons, making progress in my own relationship with money, making progress in my own ability to run a business, and overall just becoming the best version of myself. Thank you so much for all of your support. If you would like to support the Progress Merchandise Company further, you know where to go. You know to contact me, and I'll hook you up. I'll let you know the pricing and how things are working from that direction, that perspective. Or if you'd like to catch the most recent episode of the Prog Pod, the podcast all about progress, where I have lots of different guests on to talk about their journey of finding their purpose and how they are working to become the best version of themselves for you guys to consume and to learn from, as well as sometimes I just go on there. I've been going on recently more often just to share my own experiences, my own thoughts, so that you guys can continue to learn with me and we can learn together and help each other as we become the best version of ourselves and as we continue to live with the truth always in our minds that progress is possible.